What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. Matt here, and we're kicking off June this week with a June movie preview. So I think this is how I'm going to start out with the first episode of each month. The mini episode is going to be kind of recapping some recommendations on what's coming to streaming, some maybe unreleased movies that are coming out there, streaming exclusives, what's opening in theaters that kind of catches my eye, then that I'm excited about. And we'll have some other random things to kick off the episodes. There might be random discussions thrown in there too, breakdowns. And then I'm going to give a musical recommendation on each of the streaming sites as well. So the main ones I'm going to hit are Max, HBO Max, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and then Disney Plus and Peacock might pop in there depending on what all they got going on it. And then what's in theaters. Before I get into that full breakout, just a couple of random thoughts. Firstly, Walton Goggins is one of my favorite actors, and I feel like he is severely underappreciated. He gives absolutely outstanding performances and gives 100% in everything he's in, whether that is in The Shield as a corrupt cop, whether it's in Vice Principals as a batshit vice principal in that, alongside Danny McBride, whether it's in Righteous Gemstones as Uncle Baby Billy, the preacher man and singer, whether it's in Justified, playing a kind of crime kingpin a little bit there, whether it's in Quentin Tarantino movie The Hateful Eight, whether it is in Sons of Anarchy, and then in Amazon's Fallout. I feel like he always gives an outstanding performance, and he is able to play almost every role with it. And so Walton Goggins, very underappreciated, also seems like a very down-to-earth cool guy. He had an interview on KFC Radio recently when he was promoting Fallout. Really worth a listen to, in my opinion. Very interesting guy, and a lot of interesting takes on how the character they portrayed in Sons of Anarchy and everything with that. But Walton Goggins, shout out to him. The other thing, musical related, since this is a musical podcast in theory, is that Michael Ma announced on June 3rd on Instagram, he made a post that rewrites have officially been completed on In the Light. So this is following the kind of workshop preview that they had, where they had all, I think 3 or 4 performances were sold out completely and had a stellar cast helping with that. They have their kind of concept album out there, kind of highlights album that had, 10 to 12 songs on it, that was recorded a few years back. They recorded it during COVID. I think it came out in 2021, and had like Jeremy Jordan, Antonio Cipriano, Sierra Renee, Celia Pfeiffer, just fantastic voice cast on that. They had fantastic, Antonio Cipriano was part of the workshop as well. They apparently had some great feedback on that. And so they worked on some rewrites, and so now they're working on getting it out there. I hope that they find someone, because I am dying to see this. I wasn't able to make it out to New York for the workshop. Just so many things, life-wise and work-wise, going on. And I regretted it. Like, I was this close to just doing everything I could, telling work to F off for a bit, that I was going to go out and do that. But I need a job, I need money to be able to fund this fun thing that I make, because this may shock you, but a podcast that has like 60 average viewers per episode, not rolling in the big bucks. And in fact, I lose money on this regularly. I make $0 on it, which makes taxes a lot easier because I don't need to worry about reporting that. But I wouldn't hate making money on it. So the other Broadway news that's kind of tied to one of my favorite musical TV series, which is Smash. Megan Hilty was in that and was fantastic. And she had been working in Death Becomes Her, which was off Broadway. It was an adaptation of the movie, the cult classic movie, and it is officially transferring to Broadway. So that's some exciting news there. I don't know much about it. I know it was fairly well reviewed and received, and it's transferring to Broadway. And Megan Hilty is fantastic. Like, definitely one of the highlights in Smash. Her and Catherine McPhee just battling for the spotlight in season 1. So good. Highly recommend you check out Smash if you haven't already. But now I'm going to get into the June movie preview. And I'm going to kind of blow through these. I might highlight a few things here and there. But I'm going to kick it off with Netflix. So this was it Friday, June 7th. Hitman, starring Glenn Powell, opens on Netflix. A Netflix exclusive. It had a very short, I think only a week-long theater run, and it's directed by Richard Linklater, who directed School of Rock, Boyhood, Everybody Wants Some, which is just a fantastic vibes movie starring Glenn Powell. So if you haven't checked out Everybody Wants Some, you should. But he has a very unique style. He's a very good director. I feel like School of Rock, one of my favorite movies. So good. Jack Black's so perfect in that. Like, perfect role for him. But this movie is about like a professor kind of moonlighting as a hitman for the cops. So undercover cop falls in love with someone who's enlisting his services. So that's the very short blurb on it. It looks fantastic from its theater run. It's getting great early buzz and reviews. So I can't wait to watch this when it drops on Netflix on the 7th. But some other things that are already on Netflix and that are about to come out. On June 1st, Godzilla Minus One finally released on streaming in the US. This was Japan's Godzilla movie that came out this past year and to close out the year. And I really wanted to go see it in theaters and I didn't get the opportunity to. I had been hearing nothing but great things about it. Finally came out. It wasn't available on digital or anything in the US. So they did. It was the old school movie style where after a movie's in theaters, we're not releasing that shit for 6 months. So you can have FOMO and not seeing it yet. And it makes you appreciate it and wait. So we're not doing what a lot of other movies are suffering with right now. Why am I going to go see it in theaters when it'll release on video 3 weeks later? So Godzilla Minus One is, in my opinion, and I haven't watched all the old classic Godzilla. I was never really a huge Godzilla person. Like, I only started watching them with the new movies, with the first one with Bryan Cranston in it, which had very little Godzilla in it. But this is the best Godzilla movie that I have seen. And they have a dubbed version on Netflix, but don't watch that. Watch the version in Japanese with subtitles so you can get that emotion from the actors. You can get the fantastic performances from it. Darren Barnett plays Shikishima in it, and the main character who was it's a period piece. It's set like in 1945 to 47 in there in Japan. And so he plays a kamikaze pilot and who had kind of been a coward, not wanting to go through and then witness Godzilla's terror and horror. It's like a Godzilla horror film, which is fantastic, which I think a lot of the new movies have been missing. They're just big creature feature action flicks, which, don't get me wrong, they're still fun and I enjoy them, but this was a fantastic Godzilla movie. You felt the dread, you felt the menace with it. It wasn't just monsters battling monsters. You felt the emotional stakes from the non-Godzilla characters too, from the human characters. And I thought that was great. So that is now on Netflix as of June 1st. Another ones that are now on Netflix as of June 1st, we have La La Land, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. You have Big Fat Liar, which is a throwback for me. And I saw it was on Netflix when I was looking up some stuff for this, and I need to go back and rewatch it. Frankie Muniz, Paul Giamatti, Amanda Bynes, just super fun movie from my childhood that I need to go back and watch because it's great. Also on June 1st, that was all of them on June 1st. On June 19th, all the seasons of Dexter are dropping on Netflix. So I really enjoyed Dexter when it was on Showtime. So I'm glad that's kind of getting to more streaming things for people who didn't have a chance to watch it. The ending, a little rough, but the first like 4 to 6 seasons are like almost perfect. Fantastic television series. And then on June 21st, there is Jessica Alba starring in her first movie since 2019. So in 5 years, it's a Netflix exclusive. It's called Trigger Warning. And the trailer features a lot of kind of like John Wick-esque style and action in it. So I'm very curious to see how that is. So those are kind of the highlights of things that intrigued me that are coming to Netflix this month. Some things that are already on Netflix that I cannot plug and recommend enough is Black Sails. I've talked about it so many times on here. The mashup pirate show that takes history and the Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island and the kind of world around that and the characters from that, and works as like a prequel to that with history, and they just mesh perfectly. Fantastic series. So that's on there. Other things, Your Honor, which is also, it was either Showtime or Stars. I'm pretty sure it was Showtime series with Bryan Cranston, where he plays a judge whose son is part of a hit and run who kills someone, and just lengths he goes to with that. And it is fantastic. It is now streaming on Netflix as well. And then Bo Burnham, and this is slightly musical adjacent, Bo Burnham's Make Happy special is one of my favorite comedy specials of all time, especially musical comedy specials. So I love Bo Burnham. Inside is one that just captures COVID and anxiety and depression, which is really weird to say in a comedy thing, but watch it and you will know what I mean. Bo Burnham, extremely talented, but Make Happy, still on Netflix, one of my favorites. And then musicals. This is one that June is your last chance to watch this on Netflix, and that is Amadeus, which is, I'm going to talk about another biopic later on here, musical biopic. But this one, Amadeus, is fantastic. As far as biopics go, it is near perfect. Highly recommend this period piece about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. So that is leaving Netflix on June 30th, though. So get out there and watch that while you can. Now, I'm going to jump to Max. So HBO and Max have I'm not starting at June 1st, but season 2 of House of the Dragon is the big premiere this month. I debated doing House of the Dragon recaps and breakdowns 2 years ago when season 1 premiered. It was coming right off The Last of Us, if I remember right. And I'd been doing the recaps of those and enjoyed it, but it was draining because as soon as the episode was over, I'd come in here, record, edit, get it out as quickly as possible. And that's a hell of a time to be doing that on Sunday night when you have work the next day. And I have not read the book, so I don't have as much of the lore history like I do from The Last of Us from playing the games to pull into it. So I was just going to be someone screaming into the void that no one really cares about. So I was hoping to get a rewatch of House of the Dragon in before this started, but I have not watched a single episode of season 1 again, and that's coming out in like a week and a half now. So that's probably not going to happen. But House of the Dragon season 2 premieres on HBO Max on June 16th. On June 1st, a couple new ones that, well, not new, but new releases on HBO Max. Mamma Mia, so for musical, if you're an ABBA fan, that's on there. Wanted, 2008, just based on a graphic novel, but starring Angelina Jolie, James McAvoy. Is McAvoy? McAvoy. It has to be McAvoy. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say his last name. But the Curving Bullets movie, Morgan Freeman's in it too. Not very close to the graphic novel, not like the best movie by any means, but a lot of fun action and also just a great vibes movie. And just vibe out to it. Great movie. There is a new movie, June 6th, Am I Okay? It's a rom-com starring Dakota Johnson, and it looks very interesting. I'm intrigued to watch this. I think it'll be a good one to throw on for the Swifties who don't listen because they scare me. So I doubt we have many Swiftie listeners. But documentary Taylor Swift versus Scooter Braun, Bad Blood, drops on Max on June 21st. So I'm not super familiar with what's going on with that. I know he held the masters to her recordings and wasn't like giving her the ownership. So that's why we're getting all these Taylor's version releases of albums. So interested to see more on the history on that. And something that's already on HBO Max that I'd recommend is Dune 2. It dropped on HBO Max. I talked about it either last episode or a couple ago that, in my opinion, significant improvement from the first one. I get that you need the world from the first one, the world building there, but the action, so good, and it never slowed down for me. This did not feel as long of a movie as it was. Dune 2 is fantastic. It's on there now. And now for my musical recommendation is the other biopic, which is my personal favorite musical biopic out there, and that's Straight Outta Compton. This movie, fantastic. Talking about NWA, and you have, this would be disrespectful because I'm O'Shea Jackson Jr., I didn't look it up. I remembered it finally came to me. O'Shea Jackson Jr. Playing the role of his father, Ice Cube, in it is fantastic and so good. One of the best performances I've seen. Love this movie. It is on HBO Max. If you haven't watched it, you need to. All right. Next up, I'm going to do the other premium one with Amazon Prime. And the big drop there this month is going to be season 4 of The Boys drops on June 13th. So The Boys has been one of the consistently just over the top, insane action, kind of in the superhero genre, but superheroes are the bad guys. Fuck soups is one of the big things that they say in it all the time. That's the whole vibe of the show. Some drastic departures from the graphic novel, probably for the better. If they follow the graphic novel exactly, we're looking at an X-rated show, and it's already an insane and over-the-top show as it is, what's adapted on Amazon Prime, and they've let them do so much. But season 4 premieres, and I think they're doing 2-episode premiere again on June 13th, so be watching for that if you are a fan of The Boys. If not, you've got 3 seasons to catch up on if you haven't heard of it before. And then there's one that was on Peacock for a while, but Oppenheimer, the Cillian Murphy starring Christopher Nolan movie that won an insane amount of awards, is premiering on Amazon on June 18th, so you'll be able to stream that for free on Amazon Prime. Anyone But You, starring Sydney Sweeney. Holy cow. It's been a long week, guys. Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell is on Amazon Prime on June 21st is when it premieres there. And I talked about Hitman on coming to Netflix earlier. Glenn Powell is just, I feel like he's just a movie star, like a quintessential movie star. He has the charisma, he has the swagger, he's able to kind of play some different roles. He's in those cheesy rom-coms on Netflix, and Anyone But You's a little bit of rom-com. It's technically an adaptation of Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing, right? Yes. No? Yes. Yes, I'm pretty sure Much Ado About Nothing. But some Shakespeare one, if it's not Much Ado About Nothing, tell me in the comments that I'm wrong. But I don't know. He just has charisma, chemistry with almost anyone he shares the screen with. Seems like so fun. Like him and Sydney Sweeney had such insane chemistry in this. That is sparking cheating rumors. So great marketing for the show. And when it comes to musicals, my recommendation on Amazon Prime is going to be Cyrano. I feel like Cyrano is underappreciated. I don't hear many people talk about it or throw it on there. Rayleigh and I did a review of it a while back. I think it's not like an uplifting story by any means. It's a little bit of a downer, but it is one of the most beautifully shot musicals that I have ever seen. That's my recommendation for a musical on Amazon Prime. Jump into Hulu. So Hulu doesn't have a ton of crazy big drops. They focus more on TV series than movies. So the big one on Hulu is that season 3 of The Bear, starring Jeremy Allen White and Ayo Edebiri, premieres on June 27th. And The Bear it's technically a comedy, but has some absolutely heart-wrenching moments. The drama is cranked up to another level. I don't think I've ever been more anxious watching a TV series or movie for that matter than I have been watching The Bear, especially season 1. Season 2 toned it down a little bit, but it was still absolutely fantastic. And season 2 has one of the most perfect uses of a Taylor Swift song in it, in my opinion, in one of the episodes. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But season 3 premieres on June 27th, so make sure to check that out on Hulu. Shoresy, the spinoff of Letterkenny, that premieres on season 3 of that premieres on June 21st. And in my opinion, Shoresy has been more consistently good than the last few seasons of Letterkenny were. I'd pick Shoresy over Letterkenny on that. Shoresy's character is a little toned down than he is in Letterkenny, but it has more of a story, a through point. It's been a lot of fun the first 2 seasons. So season 3 drops on Hulu on June 21st. And then Love Island UK season 11. I think it's kicking off tonight, actually. There's a little bit of a delay on when we get it. But season 11 premieres on Hulu in the US on June 8th. So that's already been starting on ITV over in the UK. They get to have their fun. I'm so many seasons behind on that. I'm embarrassed to say it, but there's just so many of them, and there's just so many TV shows in general. I just haven't had time. But my musical recommendation on Hulu is going to be Moulin Rouge. Rayleigh and I were pretty divided on that in our review. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. I think it was the first one where we straight up fought on the podcast. The musical has grown on me, and it has some fantastic performances in it. Baz Luhrmann's style is insane. I still don't love it, but the music is intriguing, and it is a sight to see at the minimum. So that's what's on Hulu. And then jump into Disney Plus. The big drop there is going to be for the Star Wars fans, the nerds here, The Acolyte. The first 2 episodes of that premiere on June 4th. So tonight or today, as I recorded this, those are dropping on Disney Plus. I think they're doing like 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. drops. So it's probably dropping. I'm recording this. It's 8 p.m. now. So that's coming out there. From what I've been seeing, early reviews, very mixed, none super glowing, saying that's more if you're a Star Wars fan and you'll like it. If not, you might not. You'll be indifferent. So we'll see. Some of these series tend to start slow and pick up at the end. So I don't know. I've been kind of disappointed with some of the Star Wars stuff late. Well, that's not true, because I thought Ahsoka was fantastic. I thought Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and have been great. Andor has been fantastic for what it is. It's not the traditional Star Wars. Obi-Wan was a little lackluster, and I feel like there's another one that I can't even think of, but there might not be. So that might be it. So Disney Plus Star Wars, for the most part, fairly consistent. The mixed reviews on this make me a little nervous, but the trailers look fantastic, and Amanda Stenberg, fantastic performer, and she's in Dear Evan Hansen, performing the Anonymous ones, my favorite new song from that. Side note, speaking of Dear Evan Hansen, Hannah Bales, who I've talked about on here, one of my favorite YouTubers, she's a vocal coach, and she does vocal coach reacts videos, and she started doing, she did a review of Dear Evan Hansen, and it is over 2 hours long. Highly recommend, if you have the time, you checking it out. She is very entertaining. She also looks at it from some of the technical side too, as a vocal coach, and she can tell you and explain what she's seeing when they're straining their voices, like I am in this podcast, because I have no vocal control or breath control. That's why I'm not a singer, but highly recommend checking that out. Hannah Bale is one of my favorite YouTubers out there. Her react videos are very insightful and entertaining. And on her second channel, where she does drunk book reviews, highly recommend it. She does Wet Hot Allosaur Summer. If you need some dinosaur erotica fan fiction drunk reviews, it is hilarious. One of the funniest things I've watched. It's like 20 minutes long. Fantastic. And on the musical side, my recommendation on Disney Plus is going to be Newsies, the Broadway version, starring Jeremy Jordan. If you haven't checked it out, if you've only seen the original Newsies, check it out on Disney Plus. It is fantastic, in my opinion. Some of the added songs are great. I love film Broadway stagings. If you've been listening to the pod for a while, you know we love a good film Broadway stage version. So check that out, and then check out our review of it. Rayleigh and I did. We had a lot of fun with that one. And then the final streaming one that I'm going to touch on is Peacock. And Peacock has Love Island, the US version, which last year or 2 years ago, time is a blur to me, but they have stepped up their US Love Island to get more in line with the UK one. Now let's move to Peacock, a little more wild, not quite a censor. We can let them drop all the F-bombs, have all the fun. And so season 6, which is insane, they're in season 6 of that already, of the US version, premieres on June 11th. And so if you're in the US and want to watch along, every week you can vote who's going on dates, who you want to send home, all that fun stuff. You can get the app, play along. That's one of the big interactive parts with it. So much better than American Idol. Check out Love Island US Season 6. I'm hoping to be watching. I'm sure there will be some talk about it thrown on here, so that's something to stay tuned for. In June, they have a lot of musical-related things that are dropping on Peacock this month. So I'm not going to have a separate musical section on this. As of June 1st, so as of now, you can go watch The Birdcage, starring Nathan Lane, Robin Williams. Fantastic movie. You can watch The Producers, also starring Nathan Lane, and I can't think of the name. The guy who played Ferris Bueller. Don't come at me, but I'm blanking on his name right now. Fantastic movie. Will Ferrell's in it too. Burlesque, starring Cher and Christina Aguilera. That is on there as well. And then non-musical related is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage. Just an insane movie, but also so good and so much fun. So that's what's on Peacock. Now, for what's coming to theaters this month, June 7th, so this week, Bad Boys Ride or Die is coming out. I'm actually really excited for this movie. I'm hoping to get to see it in theaters and make it out there, because I thought Bad Boys for Life was fantastic, so much better than it had any right to be and than I expected with it. Some absolutely great moments, and Will Smith and Martin Lawrence have not lost their chemistry. It was so much fun. I'm excited for Bad Boys Ride or Die. The movie that I thought I was maybe seeing when I got to see the super fun Granny Summer Camp movie is The Watchers. That one just looks like a very intense thriller that I'm really interested in checking out. That also comes out this week on June 7th. And then Inside Out 2, the Disney Pixar movie, comes out June 14th, so the following week. And then the final one for June that's coming to theaters that intrigues me is A Quiet Place Day One. So the prequel to the Quiet Place movies. It looks like it's going to be very tense. It looks like it's a lot more action heavy than the previous ones. Especially the first Quiet Place, like you're so in the dread. It's like a horror movie. This is like an action horror alien invasion movie, it looks like, from the previews. Of course, you're gonna throw more of the action in there, but I'm really excited for this movie. The new cast of characters we're gonna get to meet, so that is coming out June 28th. So that does it. That's the official June movie preview by Down Once More Pod. Well, by me. I won't put Rayleigh or Brad's name on it because these are my opinions, not the official ones of the pod, yada yada yada, all that disclaimer bullshit. Next week, the plan is for Brad to join the pod, and we're going to do a build your own musical style draft. So there'll be more details on that in next week's episode. Should be fun. And then to close out the month, we are going to be reviewing a Disney movie. I think we decided on Wish, but we'll clear that up in next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. A mini episode in between. You'll just have to wait and see what I decide to do. But as always, thank you all for watching, listening. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. It means a lot. Helps the algorithm, all that fun stuff. Appreciate you all. Keep sending us suggestions, things you want us to talk about. I do think I'm going to make this the movie preview of the upcoming month because I love movies. I love TV. Love talking about it, watching them, and passing on. If there's recommendations I have, love passing them on. Like, I think more people need to go watch Black Sails, though. So go do that between this week's episode and next week's. Go start watching Black Sails on Netflix. So, again, thank you all. Thanks for doing all that stuff, because I know you all did. I know you all went, rated us 5 stars, told all your friends, family, shared it, commented, liked, everything. Have a fantastic June. Here's hoping it kicks off well. And don't forget to go down once more. Later.